It's 2 in the morning, and your dog already has a perfectly good bed somewhere else in the house. And yet, somehow, it still ends up here. It circles once, maybe twice, presses itself against your leg, sighs, and settles in as if your side of the bed had always belonged to it. Most people think they already know the reason. They assume it is just warmth or routine, or maybe that the dog has simply become too attached. But what looks like a small bedtime habit may actually be one of the clearest signs of trust your dog can show you. Because when a dog chooses to sleep beside you night after night, it is not just picking a soft place to rest. It is choosing where it feels safest when it is at its most vulnerable. And once you start looking at it that way, the behavior feels completely different. If you enjoy learning what your dog is quietly trying to say through everyday behavior, take a second to like the video and subscribe, because there is a lot more going on here than most owners realize. At first, the warmth explanation sounds perfectly reasonable. Dogs like warmth, and you are warm. That seems simple enough. But if warmth were the only reason, your dog would have plenty of other choices. A couch cushion, a blanket, a heater, even a pile of laundry that smells like you. The point is not that your dog does not want comfort, because of course it does. The point is that out of all the comfortable places available, it keeps choosing you. And that matters because sleep is the most defenseless state an animal enters all day. When a dog sleeps, its awareness drops, its reactions slow, and it gives up some of the alertness that normally helps it stay safe. Instinct would suggest finding a protected, quiet, tucked-away place. Yet your dog walks past those places and lies beside a human much larger than itself. That is no longer just about temperature. That is about security. Researchers at Haute-Lorraine University used a version of the strange situation test, originally developed to study attachment in children, and found that dogs can form attachment bonds with their owners in ways that closely resemble how young children attach to a caregiver. They seek proximity, show distress when separated, and settle more easily when reunited. In other words, when your dog sleeps next to you, it may be doing the most basic thing attachment theory predicts, moving closer to its safe person in a moment of vulnerability. So no, your dog is not simply being clingy. It may be telling you something much bigger than that. And the story gets even more interesting when you move beyond psychology and into biology. A famous study from Azabu University in Japan, published in Science, found that when dogs and their owners gaze at each other, oxytocin levels rise in both. Oxytocin is one of the main chemicals involved in bonding and social connection. The more the dog gazes, the more that bond is reinforced. The more the owner responds, the stronger the loop becomes. What made the finding especially striking was that this same pattern did not appear in wolves raised by humans in the same way. That suggests this is not just a generic animal response. It is part of the bond dogs and humans develop together through domestication. And once you understand that, sleeping close together stops looking like a meaningless little routine. Because closeness itself matters. Touch matters. Familiar scent matters. The sound of breathing matters. Even the simple presence of a trusted body nearby matters. Those things may not look dramatic from the outside, but for a dog, they can reinforce calm and safety in a very real way. That is why some dogs do not just want to be in the same room. They want to be touching you. A paw on your ankle, their back pressed to your leg, their body curved into yours as if even a little distance feels unnecessary. They are not just going to sleep. They are settling where they feel most secure. If you step back even further, this starts to make sense on a much larger scale. Dogs have been living beside humans for an incredibly long time, long before cities, long before farming became the center of human life. The earliest stages of domestication began when less fearful wolves started approaching human camps, likely drawn by food, warmth, and the relative safety of being nearby. Over generations, the animals that were more tolerant of humans, more social, and more comfortable staying close were the ones that succeeded. And history suggests that this bond became emotional very early. Archaeological evidence from Germany shows that humans and dogs were being buried together thousands of years ago. And one well-known case suggests a dog survived serious illness only because humans cared for it closely over time. That tells us something important. Even that far back, dogs were not merely useful animals kept at a distance. In at least some human lives, they were already close enough to be protected, cared for, and treated like family. So when your dog climbs onto your bed or curls up beside you on the floor, it is not doing something strange or overly modern. In a way, it is continuing an ancient pattern. Dogs have been shaped, behaviorally and biologically, to stay close to us. And we, in turn, have spent thousands of years making room for them, near the fire, near the camp, near the home, and eventually near the bed. That closeness is not random. It is part of the relationship itself. Of course, that does not mean sleeping next to a dog has no effect on your sleep. Dogs can move, stretch, shift around, and disturb you during the night. But many owners still report feeling safer, calmer, and more comfortable when their dog is nearby. So the physical interruptions may be real, yet the emotional sense of safety may still outweigh them. That may be one reason the experience feels so comforting. For most of human history, sleeping alone in total silence was not the norm. People slept in groups, near family, near others, near living beings they trusted. So the presence of your dog at night may not only be something your dog wants, it may also be tapping into something older in you, too. And there is evidence that the connection runs deeper than emotion alone. Recent research suggests that dogs and their owners can show synchronized biological patterns, especially during interaction and rest, while the same kind of synchronization does not appear in the same way between dogs and unfamiliar humans. That suggests that in bonded pairs, the nervous systems of dog and owner are not simply coexisting, they are responding to each other. So when your dog sleeps beside you, this may not just be a cute routine. It may also be part of a quiet, biological rhythm between two beings who have learned each other deeply. And that is exactly why the next part matters so much. If your dog has slept beside you for months or years and then suddenly stops, do not ignore it. Dogs depend heavily on routine, and when a deeply established habit changes for no clear reason, there is usually something behind it. Sometimes the cause is simple: a new person in the house, a new pet, a change in schedule, a move, a different atmosphere in the home. Dogs notice those shifts more than people often realize. But sometimes the change is physical. Discomfort, pain, mobility problems, or aging can alter where a dog chooses to rest. In older dogs, changes in sleep patterns can sometimes be associated with cognitive decline. Since dogs cannot explain what they feel in words, behavior becomes the message. When a routine this meaningful changes, it is worth paying attention. So the next time you wake up in the middle of the night and find your dog pressed against your legs, leaving you almost no room at all, try to see it differently. It did not choose the couch. It did not choose the floor. It did not choose some other warm corner of the room. It chose you. And after everything dogs and humans have built together over thousands of years, that choice still means what it has always meant: safety, trust, closeness, and a bond strong enough that when the world goes quiet and your dog lets go of its guard, the place it wants to be is beside you. And maybe, in a quiet way, that is comforting both of you. If this changed how you see your dog, like the video, subscribe for more meaningful dog behavior insights, and come back for the next one. Because there are so many everyday things dogs do that seem ordinary until you understand what they are really trying to say.